We're here.
Mm-hmm.
You heard the b-ball Paul chants right at the end?
Yeah. Yeah. It happened in the middle of the game, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. B-ball
Incredible.
Paul chats. What a world. What a world.
An incredible thing. Wow.
It's a good way
Wow.
to start the playoffs. Good
Wow,
way
wow,
to
wow.
start the playoffs.
Very good. What's up, chat?
Hey, chat. You got any questions before Mike gets here? Chat?
Eddie, the vibes are very good.
Yeah, the vibes are good.
I hope Scotty's okay.
Everybody's a playoff motherfucker. Oh, he ain't coming back. But maybe it's just I broke my ankle twice and sprained it once, and the sprain was way more painful than either time I ever broke it. Rather. It's not easy having a fucking 300-pound, 7-foot guy step on your foot.
Yeah. I can't imagine that. Oh,
Yeah.
how much that would hurt.
Somebody in the Twitch chat asked if you have a permit. What does that even mean?
I'm imagining it's because of my attire. Philly Tattoo Fest this year.
Oh, yeah? How
Come on.
was it?
It was good.
It got too big for me.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so busy.
It's just so crowded and big, and it's like I feel like I'm at a Hot Topic convention or something.
Yeah, I have everything I have. I've gotten from one guy, and I was looking for him, and like he was busy doing other stuff. So like I DM'd him trying to find out where he was. I knew he was there, but I spent like 45 minutes trying to find him. It's huge. The convention center. I've never been there before.
Yeah, it's big. I've seen it grow over the years. I haven't been in the last 5 or 6 years because it became too much. It was always neat to just walk around and see artists that you wouldn't see anywhere else.
Yeah,
you know?
it seemed like there are a lot of celebrities too. Like a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
all the tattoo shows. I'm not familiar with them, but you could just tell by their like presentation and stuff that they're good at what they do.
Yeah. I've been tattooed. How many times have I been tattooed at a convention? I think twice. Definitely
really?
twice. Yeah. I got tattooed for 8.5 hours at a convention.
Holy
once.
shit!
This thing, you can't really see it because of the light. The rose on a mountain thing. This thing was just one session. It was.
Were they all scheduled before, or were any of them walk ups?
Nah, not a walk up.
Okay. Damn, that's a very long time. Your recent piece was pretty long too, right?
Yes, it was horrible. It was 8.5 hours.
It's wild.
It's terrible situation. What do you think? Do we think Mike's gonna
Show up?
show up to the pod today? We could do it without him. It's not vibes. I mean, I don't want to do it without him, but
No, he's probably watching post-game stuff. They had Maxey mic'd up, but I feel like they didn't get what they wanted. Like, they kept showing him mic'd up, but then he wasn't saying anything. Or, I don't know if they just, like, didn't get good enough audio to show. But
hey, Chad, I'm sorry we haven't started yet. We're just sort of like hanging out, waiting for Mike. The first ever rights to Ricky Sanchez same game parlay on DraftKings cashed. We're gonna do one for every game, for every playoff game. So this one was a 4-pick parlay. They were like, "Are you sure you want to do 4?" I was like, "Yes, I want to do 4."
and it hit.
16 plus Maxey points, 10 plus Harden assists, 12 plus Embiid rebounds, and Sixers money line. Plus 320. Cash.
That's right.
Cash. That's right. I bet $15 on it.
What was the payout for that?
Let's see.
Easy money either way.
We had a different one up very briefly that we ended up changing, so I bet both of them. Hold on. You should just do Maxey plus 35 points. The $15 paid out $64.50.
Nice.
And then the other one, which I also cashed on, was plus, I bet $20. So paid out $75.
See Angelo on Twitter. Bet it and got it.
I saw.
Let's go, Angelo.
Let's go.
You're here.
Anybody, any questions from the chat as we wait for Mike?
Got a good amount of people here. Chat's moving.
Yeah. No, that's not really a question. That's a question mark, but it's not a question.
I heard him say he possibly.
You never know.
He might be so on edge from the game. Like he's so naturally high that he just needs to
calm down,
settle down. Yeah,
he's having trouble putting the mic thing in the laptop. Right. I got this hat. Oh well, he's here. Oh, there we go. There he is.
Let's go.
I would
Come
say.
On. Come on.
What?
Oh, there we go. All right.
I was just talking.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear
me? Yeah. That's going through his mic, right? That sounds good, right? Can you scratch your mic? Just scratch it. Yep. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Before we start, I saw Amos at the Beacon Theater the other night. This might be the best piece of concert merch I've ever seen. The AL in the Philly script style. Very
cool.
good concert merch. Very good concert merch. Congrats to Abby, too, on her Paul Reed T-shirt. All right. Well, we've been waiting for 6 minutes, so we can get started, right? Everybody? We good? CJ, by the way, I put the Briggs auction items in the... You saw it in the rundown?
Yep.
All right. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And by the way, the first ever Ricky same game parlay we're going to do one for every Sixers game, cashed tonight. I got it at plus 320. So congratulations to everyone who got it. And also brought to you by Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process. Go and sign up for the Ricky giveaway, briggsauction.com/Ricky. And Body Bio, use code RTRS20 for 20% off anything in the Body Bio store. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter, statesidevodka.com. On the show today, boy, the Sixers start the playoffs as playoff motherfuckers. I would say led by the number one playoff motherfucker so far. He has the playoff motherfucker belt. That is one Tyrese Maxey. Before we do get going, I speak of Stateside Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter. The Stateside Vodka Ricky Playoff Pack is available now. You get 2 Stateside Rocks glasses engraved, one engraved as playoff motherfucker, one engraved as regular season bitch, and a 750 milliliter bottle of Stateside Vodka, all for $49.99. Go into we will put it in the description of this podcast, wherever you listen. You can click in there and get it. So, and you can order it. You can, I think 47 states or something you can order it from. Love Stateside Vodka. Love Stateside Vodka. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy that bullied the coach of the Philadelphia 76ers into playing b-ball Paul by calling him a dickhead. That is one Mike Levin. It's a good start. You're back. Are you back? Are you back?
Look, I mean, so I'm obviously not a well person.
No, you've never been.
And so you die with this team, and you try to do these little things to like protect myself and keep myself from melting down I'm gonna melt down if they lose no matter what, but like to the height that I could. If I adjust my expectations and maybe I can psych myself into feeling better and psych the Sixers, I can feel like I'm responsible for something. If I'm negative, maybe they'll surprise me. It doesn't matter what I predict the Sixers looked really, really good. This was one of the best games I've ever seen the Sixers play.
Ever in your whole life?
I think against a good team in such a place, absolutely.
Well, this is the best team they faced in the first round, right? I mean, I would say
maybe Celtics that one year, but
but they were pretty young at that point. This is this is probably the best team, I think. Yeah, this team.
And they just look. We talked about it the past couple podcasts. The keys to the game that we needed were, number one, don't play DeAndre Jordan. So like, check, great. We'll talk extensively about that. Then it was limit Toronto's offensive rebounds, which they did, especially in the first half. They really did.
Yep.
Limit the Sixers turnovers, which through some accounting generosity, they had no turnovers in the first half.
How did that happen?
They counted
I saw
a couple
turnovers.
things as blocks.
Oh, okay. Because I saw turnovers with my eyes. All right.
And then from those turnovers, limit transition opportunities. And they did all that, especially in the first half, but really basically the entire game. Those are the Sixers, especially the Raptors turn teams over more than anybody else in the league. They're an excellent offensive rebounding team. They get out in transition. Their half-court offense is really not good. It's just not a good thing, especially with with Van Vliet, still like kind of dinged up with his knee, not at 100%. They just are a limited, even with Siakam playing really well, they're just a limited half-court team. So if you can limit their transition offensive opportunities, then they're going to have a tough time scoring. And in the first half, they just fucking did all of it, and especially didn't play DeAndre Jordan. I can't say that enough. They truly at no point put DeAndre Jordan in the basketball game, and that is tremendous.
I need to know. We have so much to talk about, and this seems like a small thing, but it only seems like a small thing to somebody who just got here.
Yeah.
What clicked in his stubborn brain to just switch? Was it the public pressure of everybody going, what a dumb, what are we doing here? Like, what clicked from him not playing this guy at all to saying this is the first guy off the bench, the first center, the first big I'm going to play? Like, what happened?
I have no idea. And when Derek tried to ask him, he got very upset, if you remember.
And he lied.
And then he lied a lot. He lied a few times and was really mean to Derek and then all the reporters, and threw his assistants under the bus and said, like, they all agree with me, actually, when I'm sure they don't. I'm certain that they don't. If any assistants on the Sixers, even like the video coordinator, wants to reach out and say, like, yeah, we think DeAndre sucks also, and Doc was lying, please reach out. And it was also mean to B-Ball Paul, who's a second-year player, who's just trying his best, and was like, I actually don't want him to succeed. Like, he's basically saying like he had no interest in Paul succeeding. So I have no idea what changed, but I'm happy with it. Now you wish that there were, more opportunities for Paul to play with. Like, B-Ball Paul wasn't like excellent tonight, but he's good enough just simply being there to defend the perimeter, not allow wide open shots, and deter some shots at the rim. They called some ticky-tack fouls on him. I don't think that he was like too foul happy tonight.
He had a really slick pass in the inside that I think Harris missed the shot.
Blocked the shit out of Van Vliet at one point, which is awesome. The most important thing is that they just survived the minutes. And obviously that wasn't all him. I think Harden was responsible for some of it. Maxey was responsible for a lot of it. But in the first half, 5 minutes and 30 seconds, he was a plus. They were a +2 with him out there. In the second half, he only played 3 minutes until garbage time, and they were a +3 in those 3 minutes. And that's like, it sounds so small, and I get it. But if you look back to that first Toronto series, they were a -1 billion in 12 seconds without Joel Embiid on the court. And just like holding on and like stemming the tide. And the Raptors were trying to make a run in that second half, in the third quarter. And you would think it would have come if there was like a last gasp run. It would have been in those end of third quarter minutes with Paul Reed. And it just didn't happen. And that's huge. And we're in a place where we can be mad at Doc either way, which is nice.
Yes.
If Paul Reed plays bad, we can go like, you should have played him earlier this season, you asshole.
Would have gotten more reps.
So more reps and more comfort with the starters, all that stuff. And if he plays well, then we can go, you dickhead, you should have played him earlier. We were right and you were wrong, and you're not even happy about this. He probably isn't. But that's a good place for us to be in. And as much as like Maxey was excellent, where we haven't talked about him like at the beginning of the pod, but like the Achilles heel of this Sixers team has been when Embiid sits, can they survive? And tonight they did against a good team. and they won pretty handily because of it. And that kicks ass. So as much as, and plus they did come in with a good game plan. It seemed like practicing for a week, go figure, actually helped. And they seemed like really comfortable with each other, especially in the first half. And like, I will, even as I call him a dickhead, even as I don't think he's actually rooting for B-Ball Paul to do well, I will give credit to Doc Rivers for some of that. And I will still call him a dickhead.
So there's two non-B-Ball Paul headlines I wanted to discuss. Obviously, Maxey, and the other thing is I do want to talk about the turnover thing, because I don't want to say we, well, I'll talk for me. I think I was expecting a Toronto defense that would cause a lot more chaos than they actually caused. Mm-hmm. And I want to sort of get to the bottom of why that happened. But first, Maxey. I have said for several weeks now that the improvement is something that I could never predicted. I believe in the shot now. Like, I was wrong about so much. Not that I ever didn't think Tyrese Maxey would be good. He was on my YouTube big board, but I didn't believe this as I was seeing it. And then going into the playoffs, I just didn't know that he would get the opportunity to do it, right? Because he would be deferential. He's younger. He has a coach that would defer to veterans. His performance tonight was not only great because he was great. He was great because he got he took the opportunity to do it. Like they need him to be a perimeter scorer in the playoffs this year. Like, whatever Harden is, he is not the 35 and 40 point a game guy he was at one point in his career. They need somebody to do it. His performance in every facet of the game, from 3-point shooting to getting to the basket, to finishing on a break, to he was fucking unbelievable. And look, it's a lot to ask from a 20 or 21-year-old kid in the playoffs to be your basically your primary perimeter scorer for a team that's gunning for a championship. But man, if he didn't look the fucking part tonight. He looked he looked the part.
This is why. Look, I'm going to talk so much about Tyrese Maxey, but I'm going to say this is why you got James Harden, because the attention that Harden got allowed Maxey to not. He's not like starting the offense every time. He's second side, ball gets swung to him, and he's attacking a closeout, or guys are worried about the Embiid Harden pick and roll, and he's there, and he's already a step ahead because he's so fucking fast. And so like. He's just so good. He's so delightful. He can score in such a crazy amount of ways. He has so much burst off of Harden's passes, which is a delight because nobody else on the team has that. The three at the end, when he pulled up from 30, was just like a different. It's like seeing, in a movie when you finally see like the like magical land that you're going for, that's like flowers blooming and like there's greenery everywhere. The three happen, and like flowers, like Happy Jumanji sprouted out of
it's
the
like
Wells Fargo Center.
It's like the end of Alive when you realize you don't have to eat your friends anymore.
I trust that that's true. I was thinking more Land Before Time. So, okay. Or like A Bug's Life or something.
Okay.
And he just like the 30, him pulling up for 30, the audacity of that is incredible for a guy that shot like 31% from three last year and wasn't much of a shooter at Kentucky. The Maxey chance with Tobias at the line, I feel a little bad for Tobias all the time, but like he's a delight, man. He's the best. Going left, he's made the shot a couple times, which is, we always talk about Maxey has to like put on weight and like get stronger, and that's how he's going to be able to defend and hang with guys in the post the way that Van Vliet, Lowry, those types of small guards can do. But like he has upper body strength because he absorbs contact and still finishes through it a lot. There were a couple times when he did that going at the basket, and then like the obviously iconic play was him going left, and I think Van Vliet must have slapped down, or Achua got like a bump on him and he was going backwards and still like flipped it in even as he was falling backwards from like 10 feet away. He's so good. He's absolutely incredible. The value of him turning the corner on guys and just beating them off the dribble, whether it's Anunoby, who's an excellent defender, or Siakam, who's a good defender, or Gary Trent, who's a good defender. Like, that is not easy to do, man. And his speed is a legitimate weapon. And for him to use that with also like ability to get fouls and get contact, and the step back is absolutely like something that teams have to take notice of. He scored 38 on 21 shots. They tried to get him 40. He couldn't get it. I don't know if you were, for people that watch the ESPN broadcast, because I'm my sister's in Phoenix. They mic'd him up, and afterwards he was like, I had to shoot it. I couldn't make it. I suck. It was funny to guys see guys giving him shit on the bench. You can't say enough about it. Like he should have. Honestly, let's get mad at Doc again. He should have played more in the Hawks series last year. He's a special guy. I will lick Mike Muscala's face next time I see him. What a treat it is to have him here. He'll be here forever. And you give him a max contract for his life, and I would pay him. I would give him part ownership in the team. Anything, whatever it takes to keep him here forever.
That's how you're thanking Muscala.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't enjoy that.
I don't care. He needs to know. He needs to be. Look, if any Sixers fans ever run into Mike Muscala, like, he has to be like, don't hurt him or anything, but like give him some physical affection.
Yeah, I think we need to raise a banner.
Briggs
Auction is sponsor of the Ricky. We love Briggs Auction. Delco, fucking 4-generation family-owned and operated auction house in Delco. It has been hardcore at Briggs Auction lately. When we started this, the auctions there were going to be every other week. Discovery auctions, furniture, fine arts, jewelry, all that kind of stuff. Thousands of stuff with auctions starting at $1, but it's been basically every week. The one that's up now, the Discovery at Briggs Auction that's up now, has a first edition Cat in a Hat book from 1957, which is pretty dope. I saw the Cat in a Hat thing. I was like, I had one of these, not a first edition from 1957. And also a Japanese World War II samurai sword. That's right. There were several samurai swords in there, as well as like really great furniture. And especially now when you order furniture, it takes like 6 months or a year because of supply chain bullshit, but not when you get it from Briggs Auction. Download the app, the Briggs Auction app. You can do that, or go to briggsauction.com. And if you go to briggsauction.com/Ricky, speaking of Tyrese Maxey, this week's Ricky giveaway, which all you have to do is give us your email there, has a Tyrese Maxey rated rookie and a Art of the Take t-shirt. So go to briggsauction.com/Ricky. Look, pickup is easy. Of the lots that you win, you could do it on Saturdays or by appointment, or they'll find you a shipper if it's something big that you can't get yourself. Briggs Auction can help you out with that. And if you're downsizing, if you want somebody to handle your estate, go send an email to info@briggsauction.com. Briggs Auction has 2 G's in it. Delco, love it. Garnet Valley, actually. briggsauction.com/Ricky. briggsauction.com/Ricky. So the other thing we were talking about, or that I brought up, that whether it was actually 0 turnovers in the first half or whether it was like 2 or 3 or something, did you notice something different than what Toronto, that you expected Toronto to do? Or do you think that the Sixers just handled it well? Because I expected more chaos. And there were only 2 or 3 times during the game where they did it to Embiid, and Embiid seemed flustered. I thought Embiid made quick decisions, and even though his final line wasn't like super impressive, I thought he played a great game. But could you tell what was at the heart of Toronto not doing what we thought they would do?
Yeah, I think ultimately it was about Embiid like trusting the pass a lot. Mm-hmm. I think Doc starting Danny was an interesting decision. It looked smart today, even though Danny played poorly. But it's still like helpful just to have the threat of a shot out there. I think he just passed really well. They seemed to really have a plan. They were expecting it, and Embiid knew it was coming from. I think sometimes there were times when like there was help from the backside and they just didn't get a hand. Like Embiid just like avoided the turnover at the last second. Like that could happen later in the series when they do get a hand on the ball and knock it away or anything. But Embiid had no turnovers.
Yeah,
he had more turnovers than assists in the previous Raptors series, and to have no turnovers for him is a huge deal. I think also like he didn't take many jumpers, so he
didn't. That's a good point. Yeah,
it was his first jumper. Like I think came in the second half. He was really like conscious of getting at the rim and using his physicality and size to do it. I think there were a couple times when he was like out of control, but honestly, like as frustrating as it was to sometimes see him do that, which is rare, it was kind of demonstrative. Like it demonstrated how much bounce he had and like how like loose and frisky he feels. And then the block on Siakam also made that emphatically known, which is really cool to see. And I think that when Matisse was in there, they wanted to send more doubles. They wanted to help off Matisse guy, but Matisse only took the one shot and he made it, which was nice. I love threes off of offensive rebounds. But I know, like, watch Matisse. I seemed really like conscious of this. He was cutting and being in the dunker spot, and not just standing in the dunker spot, but like moving around in there. And that, like, Achua was on him sometimes, and Siakam was on him sometimes, and whoever, like if Ken Burch was on Embiid or whatever, and you could tell they wanted to send help from the middle. Embiid was posted up at the nail or fronting or facing up at the nail, and a couple times they were like, "All right, we're going to help off Matisse," and then Matisse cuts to the other side, and it's like, well, we have to like kind of go back a little bit because that's going to be an easy dunk, and then there's shooters on the wing, so they can't help off of them. And so I think even though Matisse like didn't do a ton offensively, like I think his being active, they're conscious of him, and that's like a win all like of itself. And there was a time when Matisse screened for a Tobias corner three that was nice, but yeah, I thought Embiid's passing was really the difference, and they just seemed really prepared for the doubles that they were being sent. Like there was a Tobias cut early that was that Embiid made a really nice pass on when he got behind the defense. There was a knee angle duck in that I thought was really nice. There was a whip to the corner, which we've seen Embiid do a bunch of times, and then the Toronto started scrambling later, and then there was that pass to Shake for the layup later in the game. I thought everyone just played, with the exception of like that little, the lead is shrinking early in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I thought they played really composed. They really like seemed to know what was coming, and Embiid is impossible to stop, even though he didn't play his best game. And Maxey is the best player of all time.
You mentioned Thibault. So Danny Green started over Thibault. You know, I thought this could have happened in the playoffs, regardless of whether they're playing Toronto and Thibault's situation where he can't play in Toronto. I think it makes sense in this particular situation. But, you know, offensively, it makes a lot more sense for Green to be in the starting lineup, you know. So would that surprise you at all that Green started? Didn't surprise me.
No, I think especially in this series, like I think Doc values continuity and guys like knowing their roles. As a former player, I think he values that very high. And sometimes that maybe is part of the reluctance to like make adjustments, because he's like, I want guys to know what we're doing, and it's going to be this, and we're going to stick with this for the most part. But yeah, I thought it was helpful because they had to account for him. And if Matisse hits like another three in next game, obviously then he won't play till game 5, but like just everything helps in the playoff. It's like an inch. If a guy's leaning one way, like that opens up the thing so much for Maxey or whoever to step through and get into the lane if Matisse's guy is hugging him just like a little bit more. And that's massive. And I thought, we have more to talk about for Embiid, but I thought Tobias was great.
Tobias was awesome.
Tobias was absolutely great. And it was like a quiet Tobias game just because of how good Maxey was, and Maxey was getting MVP chance while Tobias was at the line.
But tons of quick decisions from Tobias.
Quick decisions, playing downhill especially. He was 3 for 5 from 3, which is great. He got to the line a little bit. He had a little finger roll attacking the closeout. He had an offensive rebound. I bet, without looking, Tobias has had like, on not his own shot that he misses a layup and like battles for, I would bet Tobias Harris has like less than 10 offensive rebounds all season on like other people's shots. Like I can't remember the last time I saw it. And he had the nice offensive rebound to Matisse for that three. I really think like he was hitting shots off the catch, and Toronto closes out quick. So for the fact that he took five, I'm happy with 5 threes. And the closeouts and like the attacking was fast and quick and decisive. And he had a couple nice passes off of it. He was active on the defensive end. There were a couple fouls. I thought he played great defense. He got called for a couple fouls on Siakam that I think I was like, that was good defense on Gary Trent, I think. I thought he was great. 26 points on 14 shots, 6 assists, 1 turnover, like plus 17. Yeah, just like a really, really, really nice Tobias game. And he was horrendous in those first couple weeks with Harden here.
Horrible.
And you just like have to give him credit for turning that around, working through whatever he was working through. I'm sure being pissed off at the fans for not like appreciating him, maybe being pissed off at the organization for being like this. I'm really gonna have to take a back seat. And for him to come out game one, I was worried about him reverting back to the old Tobias. Obviously, there's still a possibility that happens, but he was awesome tonight. You know, Maxey, Harden, and Embiid are going to get all the credit, and B-ball Paul. But Tobias was really, really great, and that's huge going forward because they have a lot of Nick Nurse is going to come out game 2 and try to shut down Maxey, and maybe it's going to be Tobias that's going to have to like have more opportunities and go against mismatches and all that stuff. So it's good to see him succeed tonight.
So it's funny that we have done this entire pod, 25 minutes into the pod, and we have barely talked about Joel Embiid and James Harden, which is saying something, and is something, by the way, that they're going to need. I thought Embiid, like, quietly had one of his better playoff games, honestly, because he was so solid. Like, I was so fearful in my gut. And, I thought Mike O'Connor had a good gut check this week, and AU had a good, an even better gut
AU's
check.
article was great. It
was great. Great article from AU. And as Mike O'Connor says, and I've said before, AU captures how we feel better than I think anybody does. You believe in Joel, you yell about him deserving the MVP, but then down in your gut, do you really trust him when it's these sorts of times? And he was the fulcrum of this game, even he didn't score 38 and he wasn't hitting shot after shot after shot, but he was so important as just sort of this rock solid thing in the middle of the team that I think I just thought, like, even his lack of emotion the entire time in a positive way, sort of saying focused and winning, was a grown-up Embiid. And it was a really, really, really strong game, even though the box score doesn't look like it. But I thought it was a super strong game from Joel.
Totally. I mean, he fouled out Chris Boucher a couple times. I think he got Siakam in foul trouble a couple times. They just can't, we'll see. We haven't talked about Scotty Barnes yet. That's like, the x-rays are negative. Woj just tweeted, and there's going to be an MRI tomorrow.
It could be
really hard.
sprain.
I mean, like, it looked like he broke his foot when he stepped on it. Like, Embiid wasn't. Scotty put his foot down from behind, and then Embiid was just like in the middle of his move. So it's not like, I think people want to like make it seem like there's ill intent.
No,
on Embiid's part there, especially because like there were a couple like, it's physical. It's a playoff game. Like, how many times have we seen like physicality in a playoff game where like our guys are like getting like out toughed? And this game, it was like Embiid establishing like we're not going to be the weaker team, and that's going to result in some guys like getting hit in the face. And by the way, just quick thing, not every time anyone gets hit in the face is a flagrant foul. Sometimes you go for the ball and you hit somebody in the face. Like, that's basketball. What is it going to do? What are we doing? I just want to, if I ever see a ref, we should have a ref, honestly, on the podcast in the offseason for the future. I want to talk to a ref. I could get one. I just want to talk. Let me just get my bat. I just want to talk.
I played Little League with Gons, and I played Little League with a ref.
Okay, bring him on.
The thing about what happened with Scotty Barnes and his foot, it's sort of amazing that it doesn't happen all the time. Honestly. All the time. With as bunched up as they are in the lane and jumping and running and all that kind of shit, I would think that would happen like every game.
100%. Kem Birch or Achua, one of them fell down, like tried to like flop on an Embiid play, and then Embiid like lunged forward for like a floater or like a finger roll or something, and I'm like, he's gonna step on his something and turn something. Luckily it didn't happen, but yeah, hopefully Scotty's fine. It looked worse. Thad Young also out with a thumb injury. It seemed like. Without Scotty, they're tough, but they're still not like, there's not a person on this team that can cover Joel Embiid. And that's what we were fearful of, is that they're going to send so many bodies and they can recover. And if the Sixers get like 10 from 3, and Harden's not a great catch and shoot guy, and Tobias has like his tendencies, and Maxey is small, so it's tough for him to get a shot off. And none of that happened. They just like really moved well together and played well together. And that starts with Embiid, like getting action going early, getting to the line, being physical so that they knew they had to send help, and then players cutting off of them. It's all like, that's I'm going to be sentimental for a second, but like, that's like the beauty of basketball. Like, if one thing happens and they have to adjust, and then that opens up this thing, and then you have to adjust from that. And it's like, it's a constantly like moving thing. I'm gonna start crying. I don't know why. It was a hell of a game. That the Embiid transition, like long Euro step into the finger roll, that it was like a Giannis type. My brother-in-law said it like looked like a Giannis play where he like long steps and then just like guys are like bowling pins like rolling out of the way. That kicked ass. I mean, he's the only above average rebounder on the team. The only one. And except for like Charles Bassey, who's God knows where. And he like kept getting to that right hand, soft touch, get a couple offensive rebounds, like easy looks. It was really nice. He didn't hit a jump shot all game. He had no jump shots the whole game. So it's nice to win so handily, even though like I was nervous the entire time. And my family was like, why aren't they taking the starters out? And I was like, everybody just relax. We're not taking the starters out with 5 minutes left. Like,
nope.
Come on. Here we go.
We don't deserve that. We haven't earned that.
We're doing the win. Let's do the win, and then we can worry about any rest. But I thought he was great, and he was, even though he didn't shoot well, he still like set the tone, and I can't express it enough. 4 assists, 0 turnovers, and a bunch of good passes against the Raptors, who have just tortured him. That's a really great monkey to get off your back for Joel.
We will talk about Harden in a second, and I want to take some questions from both the Twitch and the YouTube chat, and CJ is going to read them. And CJ's wearing a tank top, so if you're watching it, you're going to get to see CJ in a tank top. So ask questions. CJ will select the questions in the chat, and we'll also talk about Harden. Before that, Body Bio they want to make you healthier, taking care of your brain, taking care of your gut. If you can do those two things, everything comes from that. Hear about gut health and brain health. Body Bio has products to help you toward that. Butyrate is one that I think you should take. We should all take. Butyrate, Butyrate, is a supplement. It's actually something that your body makes, but because of what we eat normally, your body doesn't make enough of it. Your diet would have to be wild for your body to make enough of it. So basically, what you do is you order Butyrate from Body Bio by using code RTRS20, getting 20% off. And you take a couple of pills after every meal. And what it's going to do is, first of all, it's going to make you more regular, which is going to make you feel better. Trust me, as a guy who is regular, very regular person, regular in terms of, number twos.
Right.
And
this is too many brags about how regular you are. The people that aren't regular are a little upset about it.
Well, I'm saying if you take Butyrate, you're going to be more regular. But the other thing is there's a bloat that you have, and some people notice it. And specifically, I always talk about this, but you notice it after you eat lunch at work, and you're like, oh, and you look, and sometimes you can't even see the bloat. You can feel the bloat. Butyrate will help alleviate that. It's a postbiotic. You've heard of all the different gut supplements you can take, but if you could take one, Butyrate is absolutely the one to take. Go to Body Bio. We love them. We trust them. They're local. They're family owned and operated. Go to bodybio.com and use code RTRS20. I'm telling you, it'll make you feel better. Use code RTRS20. You get 20% off of anything. So Elite, which we've talked about, Butyrate, liposomal vitamin C, Calm, all that stuff. Go to bodybio.com and use code RTRS20. All right, James Harden. Looks like he has a little bloat, actually. But I have two feelings about James Harden in this game. One, it was obviously a pretty good game for James Harden, I think. I thought he created well. That one pass to Maxey was pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, I kicked ass.
It does show how much of his success right now is dependent on the three going down. And I know that sounds elementary, like, of course, whether he's going to hit shots or not. And I'm glad he did try to go to the rim, but I was hoping to see a physical burst that we hadn't seen. I did not see that, but at least he wasn't forcing it. At least he I thought he did exactly the right things for what he has available to him right now, but I was hoping to see something more physically, and I didn't see that.
I disagree a little bit. I think that I did see more burst. I saw a tighter handle. I saw like a more comfortable step back. I saw like a little bounce off of it. Didn't seem like there was like dead legs. He played 40 minutes and 4 of 7 from 3, I think, is a result of, cherry picking, but I think it's a result of like how fresh he is and how like the hamstring is better. I did think he forced it a couple times. I want him to pick his spots more.
Really?
2 of 10 on twos is a result. He had a shot block like 4 or 5 times.
Evan Turner-esque in that way.
Not quite. Evan Turner got shot blocked on like jumpers, which is tough to do. From short of the foul line, like 11-foot jumpers. Evan Turner just getting swatted. Harden, it's just like he's trying to do like the put the ball in the other guy's chest and come out. And Toronto's just long, and they're expecting it, and they're smart. So I would like him to pick his spots more and not try to like go into Precious Achua or Siakam because they're long and they can recover. I think you can do that to Gary Trent, even though he's a physical defender. I think definitely Van Vliet, although he's got quick hands and can knock it out, which he did once or twice. So I would like him to pick his spots more and be the like drive to kick guy, because they're always going to have to account for him. Even like the reputation that he has still, especially if the threes are going in, which now that he set the tone for that, like they'll have to play it. Like guys are going to be open, and I would much rather him drive to kick and pick his spots of when he's going all the way to the rim and use the floater sometimes. I just like it's less like I see the burst. I saw the first step burst. I didn't see much finishing burst. Like there used to be a time we're not going to say it anymore, but like he used to rise up like over people sometimes.
Yeah.
He's definitely not going to do that anymore, but like when he's really right, he can like get to his spots around the rim and like finish like around or through physical contact. The Raptors are a tough matchup for that, but I would like him to pick his spots more and he's been a great distributor. 14 assists, 1 turnover is huge. That's exactly what they need from him. Again, that maxi pass was ridiculous, but I just don't want him to be challenging Toronto's length when they're going stride for stride with him.
I guess
that is problematic, and he's still barking for foul calls and stuff, and it's just like just drive to kick sometimes. Don't grift. It wasn't working for a lot of it. Like, yeah, I thought he played well for the most part, but I would ask him to pick his spots more.
But to play devil's advocate here, obviously I want him to drive to kick more, but to mention he who shall not be named, if there is no threat of you actually going to the basket and trying to finish, that just becomes less effective, right?
Totally. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's no threat to finish, and that's what the floater would do for you. I'd like to see him to use that a little bit, and then you pick your spots when guys are there. I would just like, it's a tweak. It's a levels to it, and I would like 20% less trying to finish for yourself, because I don't think he has it anymore, and a little bit more kicking for other people or a little like lob situation. Would love him and B-Ball Paul to establish a lob dynamic. Those kinds of things I think would be really, really helpful.
Last thing I had is that
just a quick, because remember when in Houston, and I'd be interested to hear what Daryl thinks about this. In Houston, they did the like Capella setting a ton of screens for him before that, like Tyson Chandler and whoever. And it was just Lob City. And then it was, hey, actually get Capella out of there, because it's easier if there's fewer guys around. We can beat this guy. He can beat this guy by himself. He kind of can't do that anymore. He needs a little bit more manufactured separation. And so I would like to see like more Embiid Harden pick and rolls, more B-Ball Paul Harden pick and rolls, not just him like going like, okay, I'm just going to go ISO with this guy, because he doesn't really have that anymore. Like even I did see a stronger first step tonight, and we've heard like he's looking good in practice, all that stuff. But like, I don't think you can be like, just go do your thing, James, because he doesn't quite have it anymore. Again, good game today, super helpful on the court. I think you want to calibrate it to be like, let's strip away some of those bad possessions that like in 2017, like, yeah, he's doing that, but like he's not quite there anymore.
The last thing I had is that I thought Shake had a little bit of pep in his step tonight.
Oh yeah.
He played okay, but physically it felt like he was like he downed an energy drink before he got out there a little bit. It was it was more pep than I've seen in Shake step in a long time.
Had some zip, had that really nice game to end the season where he had like 30 plus. He looked good. He had that early, got fouled on the 3, hit all 3 foul shots, hit a big 3 late to like stretch the lead in that like third quarter area. And then in crunch time had a couple of nights, had that little like finger roll situation. I want to shout out, like, again, in that third quarter, he had that, he drew an offensive foul on a Raptors transition chance where he sort of just like got in front of Chris Boucher, and it was an off-ball transition opportunity, and like he just acted like he was trying to do a moving screen, which is great. Veteran move from Shake, and he's just I thought it was really cool when Maxey was cooking in the second half. Maxey like passed it to Shake one time. Shake didn't even look at anything else. He's like, "No, you're doing it. here's the ball back. And I thought that was cool and a good teammate kind of thing, because especially like Shake was, never hit the heights that Maxey did, except for that Clippers game against Doc Rivers. But like he was seen as like, maybe this is the next guy kind of thing. And he's taken a nice step back into like a good bench role, a backup point guard, off guard combo, like helpful player type of role. But like, I think there was talk of maybe him not being like fully there for the team, or like, pissed about his role and that kind of thing. And it's nice to see him like solidify himself as like the 7th or 8th man on this team and like be really valuable and like the only guy that can be a catch and shoot threat and a like attack the basket threat as a handler. And I thought that it's just really nice to see like him be a part of the team and him be like playing well. He's playing good ball because he's a good player. And there were times when just because of like circumstances and COVID and all that stuff, like he wasn't quite right. And it's cool. It's like very helpful to see him like this, especially without Embiid or without Matisse in Toronto. It's going to be helpful for that.
The line at DraftKings Sportsbook for Game 2 is Sixers -6.5. They were -4.5 for this game. Their championship odds actually dropped to plus 1,500. And we will do a Ricky same game parlay at DraftKings for every game. It's dope, man. They put us like right in the front of the app if you're in PA or New Jersey, or I think in New York as well. So this one cashed. It was Embiid 11 rebounds, Maxey 16 points, Harden 10 assists, and Sixers money line. So
cleared it easy.
Time. What's that? Cleared it easy.
Yeah.
Almost in the first half, honestly. Well, it was one of those things where I don't bet player props a lot, but just like for some reason it seemed like Embiid didn't get a rebound for like 15 straight minutes. Like he was sitting at the number right before we needed. Mike, if you don't have anything else on any other players, I was going to tell CJ to bring up some questions.
Couple last quick things. Yep. I did think it was interesting that there was a time when they staggered Harden and Embiid. Doc did, I think in the first half, when it was Maxey, when it was Harden with the backups. And then I think in the second half, if I remember, it was them both off the court and it was Maxey and Tobias out there. So I wonder what the rationale is with that and what worked. But like, it's just nice that there's enough guys that can defend, enough guys that can create, and enough guys that can shoot, like to tread water there. And then maybe that's not the case next game, but honestly, one game where it's not a huge problem is such a win. I just can't express it. Like, it's hard to imagine if you're new to this team. It's hard to imagine, like, why are these guys spending so much time with it? And they seemed like really traumatized by it. And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely traumatized by the backup center position. And the fact that Doc is playing Paul Reed, which again, how did he not play more in the regular season? It's remarkable. How have the Sixers never had a stretch five? The Raptors have 18 stretch fives on their team. Just like everybody in the world, like Ken Birch hoisting threes. And he didn't take one tonight, but Precious Achiuwa, like all of a sudden is like an elite 3-point shooter and like attacking off the bounce, like, and blocking shots is unbelievable. And I want to say nice, exactly what he's here for. Such a nice improvement over Mike Scott, who we also love, game from George Niang.
Yes.
Just like doing his thing, catch and shoot threes, getting to his spots, floating, relocating in the corner, being available, being like a physical defender, even if he's not like that gifted. He's just really, really helpful. 16 minutes. That's like exactly how much you want him for. Really, really nice. Just like a good, for a team that you're like, all season long, we've been worried about the role players. Like, this was a really nice, as Maxey takes the leap and being like, he's just straight up not a role player anymore. He's like the guy. The other role players really stepped up, and that was big.
Before we get to CJ, I did mention DraftKings right now with the NBA playoffs. If you bet $5 on any team, if you're a new user and you use code RTRS, new user, you bet $5 and get $150 in free bets instantly. No matter whether your team wins or not, new customers get $5 on any team to win, and you get $150 in free bets instantly. I mentioned the Ricky Same Game Parlay, which is going to happen every playoff game. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RTRS to bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game, and you get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code RTRS at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. The Other thing about DraftKings that I love, I played a little blackjack during halftime. If I'm being honest, I did lose $15. I do love the casino as well. And it's easy to take your money out, to put it in, completely trustworthy, all right here in the US of A. Again, promo code RTRS at DraftKings.com. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. CJ, do you have any questions from the chat? Look at this fucking guy with the all of a sudden he's mentioned in the emails, and now he's wearing tank tops in the fucking in the YouTube. Like,
I'm a people pleaser. We got a couple questions. Yeah,
CJ sending emails to himself on the Ricky email saying like, maybe don't put a shirt on next time. Got an interesting email from JC.
I'm building my brand. This is all
That's great.
steps I'm taking to get there.
That's huge.
All right.
Gubs. I love it.
That's right. We got one from Zach. How comfortable are we now that B-Ball Paul is the backup? Are we in full Paul Reed victory tour mode?
Oh, are you kidding me? We're going to take credit for this for 100 years.
100%.
We made this change.
100%. The crowd was chanting B-Ball Paul at several times tonight. I heard a B-Ball Paul Reed chant, which was bizarre. I think some people were chanting Paul Reed and some people were chanting B-Ball Paul, and they like kind of like crossed paths at a certain point. It was kind of an interesting like audio experiment. I don't trust Doc. I think no matter, if they advance this series or if like Toronto somehow like signs Greg Monroe or something, he's already on a team. Some like big 7-footer off the street, I think he's going to be like, well, I have to play DeAndre now. I said I would, and that's just me following through on my things. Like, I'm a little bit worried about that, whether it's this series or next series. But Paul Reed deserves to be the backup center. He deserved to be it during the regular season. He deserved to get a shot at it. He deserves to be considered for it, like, long-term going forward. Like, he's just a guy that you gotta, and he should continue improving as a three-point shooter, which he is in the G League. Like, that would be huge going forward. Like, these kinds of things, like, the Sixers have never had a consistent backup center since, and like doesn't even count like Nerlens, and like that was obviously fraught in a bunch of different ways, and he was also the starter with 7 other centers at one point. So it's really important for this year and going forward that B-Ball Paul is empowered and like continues to improve as a different kind of player, because he just throws different looks at guys, and that's what the good teams do. Like, you look at the Jazz and they're like, hey, we got Gobert. Okay, now when Gobert's sitting, it's Hassan Whiteside, who's just like Gobert on tranquilizers. So great. Like, you got to throw different looks at guys. It's too easy to scheme if you're not throwing different looks at guys. So I hope this is like a forever thing.
Yeah, I mean, boy, hopefully he's scared to death of the reaction of not doing it anymore.
I don't think he is.
It doesn't seem like he gives a fuck, but
no.
So somebody tweeted at me like, how much do you think Doc Rivers would hate you guys if he was like on Twitter and heard your podcast? And
bad. If he thinks he hates Derek, it's not even close.
Yeah. We're like,
not even close.
Yeah,
if he even knows how to pull up, he would pull up twitter.com on like a flip phone, and he would have some tough times on there. He would hate it. He would try to respond to everyone individually. Not even Michelangelo. He would try to be like, I'm Doc Rivers, and here's why you're an idiot.
He has a Twitter. In fact,
I don't think he uses it really.
You don't think? Well, hold on.
I think it's an assistant.
At Doc Rivers, we told you, B-Ball Paul was.
I haven't seen the post game quotes. If is he talking more shit about B-Ball Paul in the post game?
No more.
He's just like, I'm proud of him, but he sucks, and I regret it still.
All right, next, what do you got, CJ?
Corey wants to know, with no Thibault in Toronto, does Furk or someone else get added to the rotation, or do we just see more Green, Niang, Shake? They used a 9-man rotation tonight, starters, and then everyone else that came in.
I think there's a possibility Furk could at least get a look, but I think it's more likely you see more Niang.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't trust Korkmaz or Joe right now. Honestly, I guess there's a chance that it's Charlie Brown for like a couple defensive possessions here and there. I swear to God, this is not a joke whatsoever. I think for a defensive possession here and there, I think they put Charlie Brown in, and I wouldn't hate it. Like you see, like Atlanta takes Trey Young out for defense. Like, I don't mind taking out bad defenders for defense and putting in guys that could just at least be active and get their hands in there. I wouldn't put Korkmaz in. I wouldn't put Isaiah Joe in. At least Charlie Brown has athleticism and can like contest something.
Charlie Brown. All right, one more.
Serious?
Mike, do you
I
stand
know you're serious.
by your?
I know you're serious. Yep.
Good.
Do you stand by your prediction?
You have to.
Yeah,
have to.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't care if this makes the Sixers win. Absolutely, I'll be a loser. I don't give a shit. I'm trying to mentally protect myself over here, and there just happens to be a podcast microphone that records me doing it. If I didn't have a podcast, I'd still be like by myself, being like, they're probably not going to win. They're probably it's okay. They're not going to win. I don't know why I'm doing this voice to myself. But yeah, I mean, without Scotty Barnes, here's what I'm worried about the negative side of this. If Van Vliet is really like still not himself, and Scotty is out for whether it's next game or more games, I'm sure he'll try to play, but he looked to be in like a lot of pain, which sucks. He's such a fun player and had a great season. I'm worried about the Sixers being like, we got game one, a little coast, and like a lose 88-86 type of game, where you're like, now it's 1-1 and you don't get points for beating them by more in game one. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Hopefully it's just the like physicality and the couple technical fouls and the little pushing and shoving. Embiid is going to come out just as fired up and we'll ram it down their throats. But a little bit worried about like okay, we got this and start to coast. Which could extend the series more than it should be.
The last thing I did want to bring up is, did you see the tweets? So Simmons apparently is about to start practicing with the Nets for real. Did you see the tweet from Nick Friedel that said there were actually 2 or 3 Nets beat writers who said that Ben Simmons looked at them and said, make sure you're getting this, and then dunked it and then said, there you go, or something to that effect.
I didn't see it.
Oh, really?
It's very bizarre to keep doing the like, he's thinking about this, he might play this, here it is, looking good, he's finally playing. Steve Nash being like, I don't know. I've
never met him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling too good to be bogged down in even positive, even like Schadenfreude Simmons stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't.
He said, Nick Friedel says, Ben Simmons just looked over at me and said, make sure you get this. Then he dunked and he said, there you go.
I'm 6'10", I can dunk pretty good.
Nash
right?
Nash on Simmons, he's still working on his individual program. He does some running, but like I said the other day, no sprinting. Honestly, I don't see what he's doing, but I know he's not sprinting. I think he's clearly improving, but I have no idea if he's getting close to play or not. So there you go.
I'm sure he's tired of answering questions, just as every other coach has been before.
Can you imagine how annoyed like Steve Nash is? Like, I can't believe with as much money as he has, and is like, he seems like a dude that like does fun stuff, that he wants to be doing this. You know, like Doc Rivers seems like a miserable motherfucker. Like, I can't imagine him doing anything else.
I don't know. Doc just likes walking around, shaking hands, thinking about golf. He's probably fine.
Well, this was a great start to the playoffs, Mike.
It totally was. Couple last possible things. I do wonder. We talked about the Sixers' possible rotation without Matisse. I do wonder if Scotty's out and if Thad's out, do the Raptors add somebody? And especially if Van Vliet is not 100% and they're worried about it, I would bet that they consider giving some minutes to Malachi Flynn, who's their backup point guard, who's also a good shooter and could get to the basket. They really didn't. They had a tough time like getting any great looks at the basket. Unlike just manufacturing it, sometimes the Sixers miscommunicated and they got a couple. And the Raptors like still shot 40% from 3. Like they didn't have a terrible game. I think the Sixers are mostly just like clicking on all cylinders. So there's a chance that I would expect to see a little bit of Malachi at some point. Although he can't really hang defensively against anybody except for maybe Maxey or Danny or something. Or they could go Yuta Watanabe, who they put in earlier. Yeah. Who's kind of long, big, can handle a little bit, kind of like fits the theme of like long terrors who can keep you getting thrown at Embiid or whatever. So that's something to consider for them. I'm not writing them off. Like they're just too smart and too good.
No,
and the Sixers have written
we'll be miserable
worse opponents off before, and I just can't. They have to choke them out. Like they just have to. If Scotty's out, that means they have to just like absolutely like choke the life out of them. Like we can't The Hawks series was so recently, and it sucked so bad. And you just gotta like every game is like the game of your life. It's the playoffs. We got it. This is shaping up. If there's a good playoff run here, it's shaping up to be like a tremendous revenge tour. Whether it's this game, the Raptors series, which is obviously a monkey off their back. Next round would be Jimmy and Kyle Lowry, or Trae Young and the Hawks. And then if you get past that, then it's either Brooklyn, which is a lot, or Boston, which is a lot, or Milwaukee, which it's finally Embiid versus Giannis. So like there's a lot of revenge to be had, and I want them all to have this like serious purpose to fucking just kill everybody. Like, let's go. We have suffered. We've suffered so much. I want Embiid. I want this for Embiid so bad. And the playoff song, it sounds so loud when it hits. 10-9-8 76ers.
Oh,
it sounds,
okay.
I know you hate it, but like the first note, it seems like the audio guy is like, I'm hitting it. This is maxed out. I'm going right to 11. And the playoff song hits and people lose their mind. I love it. And wish I could be there for the game, but because to feel it in person, but I would also be too terrified to watch a loss in person. This would have been a perfect game to be at. If I watched a loss in person, I might just like start living at the Wells Fargo Center and never leave. I'm very happy. It was a very happy time. It was great. It was a great game. I'm feeling good. I'm surviving and enjoying myself for once.
People have asked if you're new, we do pods after every game. We'll do our best to do them right after the game. Occasionally, we'll have to do them, a little bit delayed. But this is both the best time of year and the worst time of year.
That's right.
It's a lot of fucking podcasts.
It is a thoroughly disgusting. I'm hot right now. I'm sweaty in the desert heat. Watching the game, I'm mostly just like clutching things. I was like clutching like a tissue box for a while, just like squeezing the life out of it. And I was like, why am I holding this? It's just unpleasant. I almost broke my sister's picture frame because I was excited by one of those Maxey plays. It's just like it's a destructive time. But the parade, we got to just keep head down, one game at a time, get to the parade. If I was home, I might be wearing the Mike Scott headband, but maybe that's retired. Maybe we move it on.
I
think
we
find a new thing this playoffs. We'll figure it out. But the bad vibes of me choking myself after the Hawks series was too much to bear.
If the Sixers get to the finals, does Mike Scott have to send a hockey jersey to one of the current Sixers to wear,
Absolutely.
or does Mike Scott have to wear it during the finals?
He could. I want him involved in it in some way.
Yeah.
We gave at one of the live Rickies, we gave Mike Scott a Rice Ricky Sanchez hockey jersey, which was very cool.
Yeah, with his name on it.
And he liked it a lot, which was cool also. And he said he would wear it to the finals. But as we might remember, the Sixers haven't quite made one of those things in a while. But he's still like beloved. So I would love if Mike Scott would like present it to like, honestly, Niang Field. I mean, he replaced him, so that's fine. Like a Niang or like a Maxey as a crowd pleaser, even like a B-Ball Paul is like sort of like a renegade type.
Just give it to fucking Joe, man. Give it to Joe.
Joel, obviously, it would be cool. But Mike Scott being involved in presenting it, and like maybe Mike Scott like showing up. Is there a way to get Mike Scott like to sit behind the bench the way like Carmelo did for those Lakers games when he was like partly retired? Like just have him like around to be like cheering. That would be fun.
What's his fuck? Stauskas sat behind under the hoop a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Get him to ring the bell.
Stauskas is on the Celtics, which would be really funny on the Sixers. He's not playing really, but
get Mike Scott to ring the bell.
He should ring the bell.
Yeah.
And how about the Sixers? Speaking of the bell, Meek Mill, who's rang it a bunch, so maybe it's not as like cool anymore. I mean, it's still cool. He's still a cool figure rather than like James, the season ticket holder. Like there was a curse of like too many any cool bell ringer the Sixers lose in the playoffs. So this is nice and nice to win on a cool bell ringer and hopefully break that curse forever because it's cool when they have cool bell ringers.
We'll talk to you Monday night. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah, Lick face.